just so you know, I'm starting to record.
Okay, right.
So, best behaviour, everybody. Best behaviour.
Everybody should really have a beer, because we should be having the AGM in a pub, but I'm afraid we're stuck without due to circumstances, etc. So yeah, I put a slide up just to remind ourselves of what it's all about. Happier times over Dartmoor. Hopefully we'll be there soon. The idea tonight is to try and make, well, the formal bit of the meeting shouldn't take very long. Obviously, it's an important bit. We have to do it. You should all have had the relevant information already. So we sent out officers' reports. We sent out proposed changes to the Constitution, a chance to ask questions. I'm sure we can always pull it up on the screen if we need to, but hopefully you've had the information we need. Flying obviously has been very quiet this year, but your committee hasn't, as you'll see from the various reports. And before we kick off properly, I think we should have a big shout out for all the guys on the committee. There's been a lot of stuff gone on over the year, as I hope you've read. So quietly and behind the scenes, they've worked tirelessly really to keep the club running, keep the sites open, move lots of IT issues forward, site guides forwards. You might not always agree with the decisions they've made, but please bear in mind that we're a bunch of amateurs trying our hardest to do our best to serve you all as well as we can. We do welcome feedback. Without it, we can't really function. So before we sort of move forward, I'll hand you over to Barry for a second, because he can just explain how we hope the IT will work. I don't think there's much to say, but over to you, Barry.
Yeah, so there isn't a whole lot to say, I think. If you think there's not that many of us, so if you've got something to say, I think you can, just try not to break the flow, but you should just be able to speak up. If it's something that you want to say that's not urgent, you can put your hand up like this on the screen, or better yet, in your Zoom, there's a little smiley face. It's called reactions. And if you go to reactions, there's a little option to raise hand. So if you raise hand, I'll be able to see that and we'll throw to you. And somebody, is it just me who's getting the echo?
No.
So everybody's getting the echo. So could you, the other thing is, if you're not talking, could you mute yourself? Lovely. Great, thank you very much. All right, and that's it.
Okay. One thing I would say, I can't see the way I've got my screen. I can't see everybody's picture, so I might not see someone wave. So if you see someone wave, Barry, and I don't, just interrupt me or whatever. So official bits, each of the various officers did send out a report.
Oh, actually, I said I'd do it for nothing if I can post the pictures on Instagram.
Oh yeah. I have actually got that. Never posted any pictures though. Not really one for selfies.
Somebody.
No, that definitely was a compliment.
Somebody watching some Spanish.
I'm grabbing a couple of coffees. Kev's going to be waiting.
Will you like my pictures when they go up? I need all the help I can.
Tony Brownhill.
Who is that?
I see Tony's.
Tony, fine. Thank you.
There we go. Yeah. So each of the officers did send out a report, which hopefully you've read if you're interested. But we're just each of them is going to speak very, very briefly, just to summarise what they've said in their report, and to give you all a chance to ask questions, because we're open to questions. So first off, we have Treasurer's report. Ooh. You'll have to unmute, Jerry.
Properly. There we are. Well, we have had a lot more members this year. There was some discussion outside the club, but that was because of members of other clubs joining us. But in actual fact, the large number of those new members we've had, in fact, 40% of the members of the club are hang glider pilots, a lot of them from quite some distance away. So I think it's very much Nick and Sam. So we've had a good income this year. There was a bit of a glitch finally when I sent it out. Last year, our bank balance was £4,198, with it all in and this year it's £4,231. So we are just a few pounds growth, but we have to remember that we've paid a big chunk towards Putsborough this year, £500 towards the £1,000 that we pay every 5 years, and we bought the lovely little weather station and put it up. So we've done that without incurring any loss in our finance.
Ah, Jerry, your secretary report, you're up twice, mate.
I know. Finally got the whole system running fairly smoothly, so that it's taking me less and less time, which is good. What I've tried with a few people, because of a request from a member, is to send out the membership card as a JPEG that you can keep on your phone in case you don't want to print out the PDF. I think this year I will run the dual system, JPEG and PDF, and then probably next year just go to JPEG, but we'll see what people say about that. So our membership has increased by 20%. So this year we've had 87 full members, of which 35 are hang glider pilots. So 40% of our membership are hang glider pilots. 54% of our full members live in Exeter, Plymouth, Torquay or Taunton postcodes. So 54% of our members are actually sort of West Country. We had 29 temporary memberships this year, not so many because obviously we stopped allowing them, of which 6 were hang glider pilots. It should have been on the agenda, I think, but as the way of these things, it kind of got missed off. The committee, when we did talk about it, obviously we're going to maintain the fees at the same level. There's not been any suggestion we'd increase them because that would require a vote at the AGM. So it kind of got missed off the agenda and missed out of the report because we kind of all took it for granted that that was happening. So, yes. Any questions?
Any questions for Jerry? Anyone? No.
No.
No. Andy, I can't see you, but I know you're lurking there, mate. I haven't got you on the screen. So, chief coach report. Anything to add? Ooh.
Yeah, we can hear
sorry,
you.
my computer's not very high tech, and the microphone's way down in the corner, so I can't be visible and audible at the same time.
We can just see your hair. Just all
my
that hair.
increasing ball patch. I might sort of comb it over. There we go. Better. So, in terms of coaching, Steve's obviously put out a very comprehensive return to flying thing, so I won't steal the sandwiches on that. There's a couple of other good resources. The video that Greg Hamilton did on safe return to flying, and there's a couple of the other clubs that have pushed out very well written articles on safety and flying in spring, which is even more important now that we've had a long winter layoff. Before lockdown, I was in touch with Phil Foraker and Tim Pilling, who are the chief coaches respectively of South Devon and Condors, to see if we could come up with an arrangement whereby the coaches in all 3 clubs could essentially share their airtime pilots if they came visiting, and that if someone was planning to come and visit a local club site, that we'd see whether we might have the ability to get a coach to just touch base and not necessarily be there on the hill with them, but to give them a brief on the site and the like. It's particularly important because South Devon has got quite a few inland sites, and we have quite a lot of north coast sites, both of which behave differently to south coast sites. And so we've all got our own particular environment, which might be quite intimidating and daunting to lower airtime pilots. So I managed to catch Tim Pilling just as he was moving house. That didn't turn out to be that productive a conversation. They were both very keen. So I am planning to try and invigorate that once we return to flying, informally at first, and then we'll see how it goes. But if we've got members of our club who want to go down to, I'm thinking particularly of places like Corn Ridge, South Devon sites, and likewise the South Devon pilots who want to come off and perhaps fly Woolacombe or even some of the more advanced sites to have mutual coaching input all round. I think that's all I have at the moment.
Anyone got any questions for Andy? No takers. You're off the hook, Andy. Yeah. The big one, site officer report. Sam's been a busy man.
Hello. So I sent out a document. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it, which sort of covers all the sites. I thought on the first page it'd be good for you to see all the sites we have and their location, what our rent is, what the ratings are and what experience they are. And also I've highlighted some of the sites that are unofficial and some that we're working on as well. So it will give you an idea of some other potential sites that we're looking at. So if you have any questions on those, let us know. In terms of sites themselves, we've updated the sites guide, Barry and I, to make them a bit more interactive and use Google Maps to give you a better idea of where the takeoff, the landing areas and some of the hazards are. So have a look on the website for that. We talked in the committee this winter about site records. So we've been digging down and trying to find out who's done the furthest distance from different sites. And another project that Barry and I are going to do on the website is a page showing who's flown from what sites with either hang gliders or paragliders and what distances, and sort of have a first, second and third, just to make it interesting and give some people maybe some objectives, some challenges, or even to see the track logs to see what people have done from some of these sites, because there have been some very good flights from the North Devon sites. In terms of all the sites themselves, again, I'll just sort of run over the bigger points. Woolacombe obviously is our most important one. I've highlighted some of the changes that they are looking at doing over the next few years. It's been a bit delayed, obviously, because of the COVID situation. But one of the things they did bring up to me last month is they are putting in some new fencing along the side of the hill at Woolacombe. And this is to get the horses basically to go further down the hill. They want to take the horses off our takeoff area because they've really put that ground down pretty short, and they want to allow that ground just to start growing back naturally. So in May this year, they're going to start putting this fence along. And when you're at Woolacombe next and you're flying, if you look back towards the hill, you'll see where they've cut out the line of where they're putting the fencing. We walked all the way through the downs to work out how it would affect us. And to be honest with you, it shouldn't. It's in the locations. It doesn't affect the side landing option down by the two water troughs. And then where it goes further along, we're going to have a couple of gateway exits from it as well. So just be aware they're putting it in. It's not going to be electric fencing. It's not going to be barbed wired. So if anything, if you do land on the side of the hill, it probably helps maybe stopping your wing getting in the gorse a little bit. One of the other big things they're doing from a hang gliding perspective is we are hoping to be able to replace the gate that goes from the field where we park and goes into the front landing field. The gate at the moment is 11 foot wide, and we're looking to put in a 14-foot gate, which for the hang gliders on here will know how much of a bit of a pain it is turning the glider sideways in a 20-mile-an-hour wind trying to get it through the gateway. So by widening it, it should enable us to at least move through that a bit better. They are doing a project where they are trying to encourage more people to come onto the downs, and they're thinking about putting in a kissing gate and then a 14-foot gate next to it. So I think that's a positive thing as well. Again, if you have any other questions on Woolacombe, let me know on that. Oh, the other part we'll have to do is work on that track. It's actually got quite sunken in this year. The ruts in the actual track are quite deep. And I indicated today you'll get through there with a 4x4, but on a regular vehicle, I think we're going to struggle. So I'll speak to the National Trust, because between now and May, I'm a bit concerned if anyone's got a low vehicle going along that track, it's going to be a problem at the moment. So we'll try and figure out what we can do where the ruts have got a bit deeper. Putsborough pretty much still going on as it is. We've got an area that we're allowed to clear further along the hill, and that's something we can look at for doing this year. Cornborough's status quo, still moving along. Ant and I are hoping to get down there this week and trim back the takeoff area again. Codden Hill, I went to see the landowner a couple of times this week. I've got a feeling he's away because he hasn't picked up his bottle of whiskey from his porch yet. So I'm unsure on what our current position is with flying there. So can you just bear with us on that? He's very sensitive. Since the lockdown has occurred, he's been quite vocal in terms of what he wants seeing happening on that, and we really need to respect his views because it is his land. So as soon as I know, I will update you on that. Holdstone Downs, which is Trentisoe, we finally, after back and forth with the National Trust, we've got an agreement where the license starts on the 1st of September and runs till the end of February next year. So it's closed from now till the 1st of September. They were trying to make it for April, but luckily they backtracked on that, and they've given us a window which works best for when the sea thermals work for flying along that coastline. So the main area of Holdstone Down is 1st of September onwards. And then obviously we've got this other site that we've opened next door to it, which is at Trentisoe Fields, which is quite a tight window. It's been flown a few times. And if you're interested in flying it, I would highly recommend you speak to Andy or some of the experienced pilots, because it's quite a committing launch there, but it does work, does have some advantages. Paracombe Common is a new site that we've flown a few times, and we're intending to make it an official site in the spring. It's an inland northwesterly to west northwesterly facing hill, not really soarable. It's more of a site to be able to go XC from. So again, once we've got the particulars, we'll put that up on the website. And then finally, the unofficial and pending sites. We're working on a few other ones. Saunton is still in progress. There's an opportunity on the dunes at Crow Point that we're working with the landowner there as well. And we've got one at Brownsham, which is past Clovelly, which is National Trust land, which we have test flown, and I don't think we'll have any issue setting up a license for that one either, which will give us a few more options for flying that coastline. So we're pretty busy. We're obviously limited with what sites we have in terms of the terrain in North Devon, but we have been looking at trying to find more opportunities to fly and some different sites to fly on, but looking after some of the main ones at Woolacombe, Putsborough, Cornborough and Codden and Trentisoe. Those are our five ones that we try and manage properly. And then finally, I announced to the committee last year I'd like to step down for the position of sites officer, only because I've probably been doing it for too long, and I think it's good to get fresh faces in with different ideas. So it'd be good this year, between now and the next AGM in March next year, just to try and see who would be interested in doing that. And once someone comes forward, is actually then getting them to meet some of the landowners and building that relationship, because that really is what is key with the sites that we have, is having a good relationship with the landowners. And that is it. Thank you.
Anyone got any questions for Sam? No takers, right. Safety officer report, Steve. Oh, sorry, no, go ahead. It's someone with had a question.
One question: where exactly is Paracombe Common? I drove through Paracombe. It's like a very historic little Exmoor village down in a valley, and I couldn't see anything sort of flyable around there. It's sort of very secluded, or
it's secret, James, so you have to pay me to go and see it.
Okay, so it's like a Harry Potter type thing.
Yeah, it's pretty high up. If you go on the A39 and you go around the bend,
yeah,
Paracombe, if you look up to your right, it's the high point there. It's pretty much the highest point facing northwesterly, so it's overlooking Paracombe from high up.
Oh yeah, yep.
I think I put the grid reference on that sites officer report, so if you Google the grid reference, you'll find it. But I can send you I can drop a pin or something as well. So
that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe not a good one to go and just probably go with someone else, because it's fairly untested, isn't it? So we don't really.
Yeah, well, it's one where we need to speak to the landowner first. They have horses down below, so we usually tell them each time we go. So,
and it's more of an XC site than a soaring site. Would you say?
Yeah,
so?
you'd struggle to soar on it. Yeah.
Any more for Sam? Anyone got any more questions for Sam? No. Over to Steve Bennett, Safety Officer report.
Evening, everyone. Thanks for turning up. I won't run through the whole of the report that was sent out recently. What I'd like to do is just pick up on some of the key points and some of the recommendations. So a quick skim over. Really, if you do have an accident or an incident, please report it to us. In terms of safety and recommendations, we did have a couple of incidents this year, and we made some recommendations that were sent out to members of the club back in November about improving communication with low air timers, new pilots. So if you do meet any on the hill, please point them in our direction. We tried to signpost them, or recommend that we should signpost them to fly at Woolacombe first before any other site, get a few hours under their belt, and also have a meeting with the head coach, other coaches, etc., as well as other members within the committee, to try and help them along and encourage their flying career, both in hang gliding and in paragliding. Other than that, that really covers the safety officer's report, but needless to say, we're just about to start and have started the new flying season. We've all had a really long enforced layoff, and as Andy said, there's some fantastic resources out there, and also some fantastic resources in the club to rely on. So please, if you are preparing to go out, make sure that your kit has been checked, make sure it's been serviced, make sure you throw in your reserve, have a go at some ground handling first. Go to a site with laminar air such as Woolacombe, spend a little bit of time there, just getting back into it again, run through all your checks before being a little bit too bold and trying some of the more spicy inland sites such as on Dartmoor or even Codden Hill. A good pointer, I know Andy mentioned it earlier, but you've got Greg Camerton on YouTube. He does some brilliant sort of safety YouTube videos, not just on safety, but also flying in general as well. And I'd recommend sort of spending some time on there before you go back on the hill. I think that covers everything from me, really. Any questions for anyone?
Yeah, it looks like over to Barry, who's done lots of wonderful things he can tell us all about. IT, website, weather station. Go ahead, Barry.
Well, it's my first year doing this, but it's been quite a busy year. I mean, it's been quite a busy year on the committee anyway, for obvious reasons, but it's been quite a busy year on the website. Lots of updates, a lot of COVID-related updates, sites closing and opening and things like that. So lots of updates there. Also working with Sam to do some really good updates to the site guides, and also a general website refresh. I don't know whether you've noticed that, but I've just simplified the look and feel of the website. So we've just got a menu bar on the left, the main section in the middle, and that just keeps it cleaner and simpler. And don't tell anyone, but it is maybe slightly modelled off the South Devon website, but that's all right. Also, interestingly, been in contact with Flybubble with what's his name, Cademan Mullen, yeah, who does the Flybubble website. So, and together with Sam, again, have updated all the wind roses on the Flybubble website, and he's actually given me access to go and edit things as we need to. So we can, for example, go and close and open the Holdstone Down site as appropriate. So it's good. It's really good. That was really good. And the refresh of the website was partially in preparation for creating a members area. So that's coming in 2021, he says, is a members area and also possibly a forum as well, and something like, you know, a knowledge base center where we can put articles and things like that. So, and this is, I know a few more senior pilots in the club have been asking for this. So that's on the cards for 2021. Also, of course, the installation of the weather station. So it was Jerry's idea. So we're all here. It was Jerry's idea. Thanks, Jerry. And Glyn and I talked about it because Glyn did something like this for his bees. And we concluded that actually the best thing to do would be to go out and buy a whole-fi weather station, which we did. Installed it. It's been working really well, I think. We had one small issue during the year of the top popping off. So thanks, Nick, for going out there and identifying that that's what the problem was. But that was, you know, it was only 20 quid. It was 20 quid for the little vane at the top. So I think we should probably offer a small prize to anyone who finds it in the back field, because it's still there. It's still there. I think if you find it, give it to me and we'll make a little trophy out of it. I think that would be appropriate. Wouldn't it? So that was the weather station. And in addition to that, it's an AGM exclusive announcement. So you're the first to hear it because you bothered to turn up to the AGM. But the North Devon Club now has a YouTube channel. So the recording of this AGM will be going up on the YouTube channel. And I'll post those links on the Telegram. And also Ant's talk from last week, that's also on the YouTube channel, along with a couple of other bits and pieces. The idea of it is, and you can create playlists on YouTube. So if anybody has an idea for a playlist, for example, I don't know, weather, a playlist for weather, just email me or message me with a list of the videos on YouTube. You know, you just click the share thing and copy the link. Just send me those, and I can create a playlist on our YouTube channel. So that's that really. Any questions? Great, off the hook.
No questions.
Hey.
A lot of work, Barry. I think, you know,
It's a lot of work.
You've put in a lot of work there. And
if anybody's worked with WordPress before, you know how it's just insanely difficult to get things exactly as you want them. It's really, really tricky. So yeah, that was an achievement.
We have a slot for James for a low airtime report, but I think I'm correct, James, in saying you didn't have a great deal to say. Is that? But do correct me if I'm wrong. Is that?
No, there wasn't really much to report this year. We haven't had many new pilots. I had a few come through, and I had some lessons learned through that and worked with the safety officer and direct them all to the club pilot sites such as Woolacombe. And that's really, and if they got new gear, which they usually do, is just introduce one change at a time. We had a change of coach halfway through the year, so we'll be directed onto Andy now, and so hopefully Andy's opened himself up to all the new pilots that are coming through. Flying was pretty divided up this year and our socials, if you remember, were all of 6 back in the pub, very distant memory. We had 4 turn up and we managed 1 of those in the whole year, so yeah, it's not been great. So no, not much to say. I hope for more new pilots to come through, especially lots more paragliding pilots, because it sounds like we've had quite a lot to do with hang gliding this year, certainly, which is excellent. So yeah, fantastic. I'll pass it over to you, Ant, really.
Okay. Well, I guess as you can see, the guys have been pretty busy on the committee. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of great improvements in the background. All the IT stuff's fantastic, Barry, and Jerry has been amazing as secretary, keeping us all in order, making sure we do it all properly, keeping the sites open, major achievement by Sam. You know, other clubs have lost sites around the place, and we've still got landowners on our side. We're in a good position to go forward, hopefully after COVID. Anyone got any questions to ask before we move on all of those? And amazingly, the IT's working so far. It's not like me. Votes for committee members. Jerry will probably tell me off for not doing this properly now, because I never know the right way to do it. But these were the nominations. Nobody else has stood. I mean, I guess we sort of need to vote to see that they're in, but it's probably more or less a foregone conclusion because no one else has stood. Well, do we want a show of hands, Barry? Do we want to do them all together?
Yep, we could do it all together. I think we need officially, so there's one person in this meeting who actually knows what they're doing, and that's Jerry. So Jerry, tell us.
Tell us, Jerry.
Okay. We need a proposal, and I don't mind proposing it. A proposal to the AGM that because there are there's no election, because there are no no additional nominees. We've just got the nominees for the positions. That I would like to propose that by a show of hands we vote all the nominees into the respective positions as shown. So if somebody would like to second that, and then maybe if we go off sharing your screen so we can actually see everybody just for a moment. So Barry, me propose, Barry second. So by a show of hands, can we vote? That appears to be unanimous. And that's also good because now I can see we now have 21 people.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, can I get my view back? Let's have a look. Let's just see. Let me get that back on there. And we got to reshare. Have I got to reshare a screen again, or has it come up? Probably got to reshare. Here we go. Share. Have you got that back again now?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hooray,
amazing.
Hooray.
Amazing. Right. So, we have a proposed change to the Constitution. Again, I don't know how many people have read the documents Jerry sent out. There was a proposal to change the Constitution. I think to do so, we have to vote on it in an AGM, and we have to have a certain majority. Jerry keeps us in order on all these things, as I say. He's the boss on all of this. The Constitution was very much sort of revised. Rob was really the driving force behind this. So I don't know if you want to say a word or two, Rob. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I can do. Evening, everyone. We as a committee, we rewrote the Constitution. It just needed updating, really. So what we came up with was a sort of a fairly concise Constitution, which is a framework for running the club. The idea being that it would briefly outline the roles of the committee and, you know, the expected standards, both of members, the committee and everything else. The committee is, the Constitution is then supported by a slightly more detailed appendix, but basically the running of the club is sort of dictated by what's written in that. It's a fairly standard document that we've cobbled together from looking at other similar organisations and flying clubs around the country. So we've largely sort of cribbed our way towards something that fits for us. And basically, you know, it's a working document that we can come back to. We can, you know, cut and adapt it if we find it doesn't work in some way, but otherwise it's a more updated version of the Constitution that we did have. So that's kind of it.
So we need to actually vote on that. So again, if I stop share, is that the best thing to do? Here we are, so we can see each other. So I would propose we accept that Constitution if somebody wants to second it. Any takers? Right.
James has seconded.
James has seconded. Let's have a hand up for anyone who wants to vote for it. That looks good to me, I think. See if we can get this screen share back. There we are. That should have changed, I think. And now we have awards. Hey, fantastic. Hey. We put some feelers out a while back on awards, and we decided we wanted to change the emphasis on awards a little bit away from performance and more to sort of people who've contributed to the club. So it's a little bit more of a mix and match than it was. We obviously can't physically give the awards tonight. We couldn't even collect them to engrave them, so they will be following in due course when we can get hold of the things and when we can engrave them. So you'll just have to accept a virtual trophy tonight if you're a winner. So the new award scheme, longest flight from a North Devon site, goes to anybody want to guess? Sam Jays, Mr. Jays. I can't see myself on the screen. I presume you can see the cup, can you there?
Well, that's a nice cup. Thank you, Anne.
Yeah. I don't know whether that's the one you're going to get. We'll have to see.
Right. Nice and small,
that was Sam's lovely flight from, I think, Cotton to Tavistock. So for which he also wins the first of the new medals. We now have medals for first 50k flights, and that's Sam's first 50k on a paraglider, I believe. Is that correct, Sam?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, terrific. Let's see who we got next. Well done. Best flight by a CP. Much debate about this one. In the end, we voted to give it to James Lloyd for his flight at Cornborough under the guidance of Stu. So well done, James. You will get a similar trophy. Engraved. What have we got next? Let's have a look. Phoenix Award, best hang gliding flight. This one was a major head scratcher. It went to the longest cross-country hang glider flight of the year, I believe, which was Nick Chitty's flight from Woolacombe all the way to West Down, I believe. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. The smile on his face when he got back to the hill. Actually, what was probably his smile on his face was good, but the worry on Trevor's face when he couldn't find Nick in the air was even better. So.
Nick, say something. I want to see your face, mate.
Can I just say a couple of things? That obviously I was at defined cross country because I went to see my granddaughter because she said she made me cakes. Also, it's the first time I think that a cross country flight from Woolacombe has been done seated in a hang glider.
Ah, yeah, that's a good point.
And just to preempt the fact that obviously I wasn't going to get myself a trophy this evening, because obviously I am chairman of Monday Club.
Yeah.
I decided that I'd buy this, and I will be posting this on British Hangies later.
Well done.
Very nice.
Well done. Well
I
done.
have the trophy for you, Nick. So
yeah, brilliant, mate.
We'll do a ceremony on the hill with it.
Yeah,
I've got to take a selfie for British because I run the biggest hang gliding group on Facebook. It's called British Hangies. I just needed to, and if you don't mind me taking a picture of that, everybody. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, hold it up, Nick. Hold it up, Sam. Sam,
yeah.
You realise we can see you've got Pornhub on your computer. It's
sorry.
reflecting in that.
I thought I'd hidden that.
Right, medals for first, 25, 50 and 100. We scratched our heads on this because this is a new thing we wanted to introduce to encourage pilots to go cross country. We're probably going to add a first 10k as well, but we hadn't got round to doing it yet. And as we said, Sam won his first 50k medal, so medal coming your way, Sam. You'll just have to have a corkscrew for the moment, mate. But I suddenly thought of another one. Jamie did a 25k. Jamie Goodread did a 25.5k flight down from in Ypres, I think, or somewhere in South Devon. So another one. So moving on, cross country league winner, that goes to some idiot. Me, so we'll skip over that, a bit embarrassing. Progression Award. Again, it's a new aim. The Progression Award, well, I guess the name is fairly self-explanatory. The idea is to give it to someone who's moved forward, so not necessarily great performance, but moved forward from where they were. And the hang gliding Progression Award this year went to Tony Brownhill. Now I don't know Tony myself, and this is very much a sort of report, I think, from Nick and Sam. But Tony's been a member of of North Devon for a few years now, and in 2020, in spite of the pandemic, he put lots of time and effort into making the long journey to Woolacombe, and kept developing his skills and currency. And watching him one day from the air doing 2 or 3 landing approaches at different altitudes and make the sensible decision to go round again until he was comfortable with the final approach was a good demonstration of the patience and understanding. So well done, Tony. He gets the Progression Award for paragliding, and the Progression Award for hang gliding. Sorry, Progression Award is the best one to win because you get it was going to be a £25 cross-country voucher to buy a book from Cross Country magazine to keep your progress going, but actually they only sell them as 30s, so he gets a £30 voucher. So if someone can let me have his email address, I can organize that one. Then the paragliding Progression Award, that actually goes to Barry. Yay. Yeah, to Barry. And on here, Barry, I've written it goes for bouncing, but more important, bouncing back, and then in particular moving on to your lovely flight at Trentisoe under the guidance of Rich as a big step in any pilot's career. So yeah, congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
£30 voucher heading your way. You know, yeah. The next award is I think probably the most important award in the club, and that's sorry, I'm out of order. We'll come to the Innis Award in a second. Sorry, but the Spirit Award, and the Spirit Award is really awarded to the member who's shown the best spirit of non-competitive flying throughout the year. And as always, it was a tight run thing, and we actually wound up splitting it into hang gliding, paragliding again. Spirit Award for hang gliding went to someone who's really revived hang gliding in Woolacombe. So Nick, you're a winner again, mate. You know, it's transformed hang gliding at Woolacombe. It's now become a sort of major site again, like it used to be. So you put a lot of work into that, and that's great stuff. Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah, well done, I'd like to say, yeah, I mean, it has been, but it's been a team effort. I do think that the slightly social side of having a group called Monday Club, which the average age is obviously into the middle 60s, nearly 70s, has helped.
So youngsters for paragliders, for hang gliders then.
I just like, I mean, as with Sam, I just like to think that it's just the general friendly atmosphere of the club that actually we get a lot of new beginners with hang glider pilots come down to Woolacombe because I think they feel safe, and that's all I ever wanted to do, was to make people come down and feel safe.
Yeah, well done, Nick.
Yeah, well, no, but seriously, it's been a big shift in the club, you know, and yeah, I mean, a lot of work and a big asset to the club. Terrific. Yep.
Yeah, well done.
For paragliding, I don't. Is Jamie Goodread on the screen? I can't see him on the. Are you there, Jamie?
He's not with us.
I don't know whether Jamie's joined us, but Jamie put in a lot of effort in coaching in the early part of the year before all the sort of COVID crisis. And yeah, you know, I think that certainly deserves recognition. So for the Paragliding Spirit Award goes to Jamie. The Innis Award, Rosie's here to give us her judgment tonight. If I'm clever, I can find the slides and perhaps I can try and do that and just run through the slides. So you should.
And
yeah,
I think Seb had his hand up just now.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and just I had a question for Nick. What is the Monday Club?
Don't get him started, Seb. This could take all night.
Yeah, don't worry, Seb. There will be a special initiation ceremony.
Okay.
First rule of Monday Club.
Yeah, we don't talk about Monday Club, Seb.
So I think for the Innes Award, which for anyone who doesn't know, it's a trophy awarded to the best photos submitted, as judged by Rosie. So we only had 5 photos submitted, so I'll run through them very quickly. Then Rosie can reveal all. Tell us who's the winner. There's number 2, number 3, number 4, and number 5. Rosie.
Well, it was a close run thing between the lovely site at Woolacombe, which I haven't seen in 12 months, and was really made me excited. I want to be back on the hill again. But the lake, is it Annecy?
Let's have a look. Which lake? Let's have a look. That lake?
No.
Yeah, that one. That's in the Lake District. That's in the Lake District.
There was another photograph, and
Was there? Oh goodness me! And I've missed it off my slides. Right. So another photo. I'll have to try and find that. Sorry.
Shall I send it again, Ant?
Yeah, sorry.
Shall I send it again?
Yeah, send it again. Yeah. Right, send it again, Andy. It's Andy's photo. I'll try and find it, Andy, in a minute. Yeah. When we're in the pub talk at the end, I'll find it. So it looks like Andy. I think you retained the trophy, Andy. Is that correct? Yep. Thank you, Rosie. That's terrific. I'm in trouble now because I'm out of order. Let's have a look. Awards. Oh yes, we have the next awards, which again are probably at least as important. We have the Good Egg Awards. You have to talk amongst yourselves while I get the good eggs, because I've left them at the back of my room.
You have the Turf Award, Ant, as well.
We have a bag full of good eggs. There's enough to go round. So Annie and Rich for their continued help to so many pilots at Woolacombe, Woolacombe in particular, but pilots all over the place. Alan Hurd, say something, Alan. Then your picture will pop up on my screen. He's probably on mute. Alan's been sort of quietly supportive, coaching low airtime pilots for years at Woolacombe. He's always there. He's always doing it. Puts in a lot of work at it. So well done, Alan.
Thank you.
Yeah,
well
done, you are there. Hey.
I missed the repack this year, Alan.
Oh yes, and the repack. Sorry, yeah. I forgot to add that. Yes, yeah. Barry Johnson for the weather station, for which we'll all benefit for many years to come. Andy's website work and the YouTube channel and just lots of stuff in general. Jamie, who's not here, so maybe I'll eat his eggs, but I'll buy him another packet if I do. Again, for all his coaching efforts. And we got more Bonnearths. Sam Jays. Sam, you can't possibly stop being sites officer without at least some eggs for him. Yeah, years of quiet and effective work. And a few scary moments where we've nearly lost sites, but Sam's been fantastic at sort of relationships with farmers and all our landowners and smoothing it over. So terrific stuff. Jerry, we'd be lost without you, mate. We'd never got as far as a Zoom meeting without Jerry. He does a lot of stuff in the background, mate. Puts up with lots of shit. Organises us all on the committee, and now he can fly as well. Fantastic. So definitely deserves a good. Oh, here we go. Let's go back. Right, that's our Bonnearths. Next item on the agenda was Glyn's question. Glyn, I don't know if you want to say something so we can see your face, mate. I can't see you unless you talk.
All right, so yeah, I'll come off mute for a minute. I don't really want to bring the mood of the thing down now, really. But
good. No, well, I think it deserves an answer because we're trying to please as many people as much of the time as possible. So it deserves an answer. It doesn't need an argument, I hope, But
yeah, okay. So, but basically, this is 3 points listed there. Obviously, number 3, I'm assured by Jerry that anyone who did fly on that day paid a visitor's fee. So that's okay. The second one, the middle one was, does the club feel with the current situation it should happen again? Well, hopefully the current situation's changed so much and it's not going to go backwards, so that goes away. So really, it's just a historical thing. But it just, to me and a couple of people who messaged me privately, it just left a bit of a bad taste in that last year, for much of the year, we upset a lot of reciprocal members by not allowing them to travel because allegedly the National Trust didn't want the site open to people to abuse travel regulations. And it turns out that for this particular thing, people were able to travel a lot further. And I think they'd have had difficulty justifying it as work if the old bill had pulled them. So that was basically it. I mean, the wording of the, yeah, okay. I can't, yeah, you've put that there. So I understand it was the committee, and obviously that's down to the committee, but I just wondered, you know, from what I got, some of the general members weren't very happy about it. And okay, I've stuck my head above the parapet and put it on the agenda. So I'll give it over to you to answer. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously it is something we talked at length about both at the time and after your questions, because, you know, we can, I think everybody will recognise there's room for things being contentious. I think the answers we came up with were really, well, all through the crisis, what we've done with COVID is be guided by BHPA guidelines, and that's exactly what we tried to do for this, which sort of answers your question, sort of doesn't, I appreciate, and I'm not sure there really is an answer, you know, other than to recognise concerns, you know, and say that, you know, if there's another similar situation, well, the plan at this stage is to broadly follow whatever the BHPA guidelines are at the time, you know. So I hope that gives you some sort of an answer. I appreciate it's
yeah,
not,
well,
it's not
the
a
only thing
complete
I'd say
answer,
is
you know.
the only thing I'd say is I did reread the BHPA things, and again they actually reiterated that travel shouldn't be excessive in both their thing about instructors and their more recent one following the 8th of March general opening up. So that was the main thing, as I say, especially after last year's level of restraint, that, you know, there was a lot of people upset they couldn't get to Woolacombe. And it seems to me that that was, okay, it was a closed day for the rest of us anyway. And it was probably the first day for weeks that would have been usable. But it just felt that it was, although it may have been looking at BHPA guidelines, they weren't fully interpreted. And again, it was really outside of the spirit of the lockdown. But I accept the thing, so we'll close it on that. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you know, it is something we can always talk about on a different occasion. You know, it's not, we are open to listening, and that's for sure. You know, no intention to be dictatorial. I think I'm right in saying that. Here we go. The AGM is now officially closed. That doesn't mean we can't talk.
Don, you've
can.
forgotten the
forgotten
the wooden spoon.
Ah, the wooden spoon, Jerry. Yes, you're right.
Thought you were having glints so you could then have some
yeah, you're the wooden spoon, right? I take it back. I take it back. It's not closed. Let me just find. Here we are. Let me just. Oh God, my wooden spoon. Let me move it down. Move it down. Yeah.
There's one of the things you missed on it. I put forward a good egg award. I think you just had it on that sheet, which you didn't mention, for Stuart.
Ah, yes. Sorry. Yes. Yeah. Right. My typing. Stuart. Yes. Yes. Another good egg, Stu. Speak up.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Lots of work over a long time as chairman, Stu. As most of you know, Stu sort of stepped down about a year ago, wasn't it? And early COVID, with lots of things on his plate, and I stood in temporarily. And I've now stepped down because Rob is now new chairman. Let me just skip to the end of this document, because we have yeah.
Sorry to preg on it. I'll read out what I sent to you for Stu, because I think it's important.
Yes, Stu. Yeah. Sorry, I should have found that.
That's okay. I just think it's important that you recognise what he's done. So
yeah.
I just put, I would like to nominate Stuart Hall for the Good Egg Award. Stuart was chairman from 2012 to 2020 for the North Devon Club, and has helped make a raft of changes and growth within our club, which have both been positive and beneficial to the membership. As chairman, he was always a great host, not only for the multiple meetings, but for his legendary Christmas events at his house, which was a lovely social gathering in the winter period. His commitment and selfless attitude in volunteering so much of his time for the good of the club was immense. Also acknowledging his coaching skills and pilot development in helping new members getting started in the club has been invaluable. Thank you, Stuart, for all your hard work and commitment to the club.
And well done, Stu. You can have two packets of eggs, mate. 2 packets of eggs.
Thank you for that. That's very nice. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
Cheers.
And we do have the fun event of the night, the wooden spoons, and we've got 4 nominations, 3 of whom are here, so we should let them speak. Andy, you can speak about your Andy Brown.
You should always say, Andy, the wooden spoon is the most coveted prize of the evening, of course.
Absolutely. Is Andy Brown still there, or has he had to go and put children to bed?
No, I've told them to bugger off. They're in bed.
Andy, tell us why you should win the coveted award.
Well, looks like I wrote a rather long citation there, but basically, one thing you should never do as a tandem pilot is get dragged. And I managed to get dragged twice after a really, really good day with, I think I had 6 tandems, and then I did a bit of ground handling with Jerry in the backfield, talking about Cobra launches, and my friend David. And unbeknownst to me, unbeknownst to me, I hadn't noticed that the wind had picked up from the wrong side of, from the right side of Flyable to the wrong side of Flyable. And I tried to launch with a passenger I'd taken up before. Just as I did so, the wingtip hit a gust, or a gust came through, dragged the whole of the wing into the power band, and I got dragged. And that was not fun. Then one of my friends very helpfully grabbed the A-risers just as I brought the wing into control, which was nice. I got dragged again. And then finally, I think everybody present on the hill just jumped on the wing, and we managed to stop me disappearing over to Somerset. So yeah, it was just a very poor display of judgment and pilot error, and a hard lesson learned about not overestimating your ability, particularly when some poor sod is strapped to your front.
So a hot candidate. And next up we have Barry Johnson. Do you want to talk to your wooden spoon attempt?
What? Did I nominate myself?
Jerry nominated.
Jerry,
I nominated you.
I could see. Oh, Jerry. Is this for?
Well, I nominated you for gorse bothering and then missing the best flying days of the year at Woolly for us low air timers. Because I look in my logbook and I had 5 cracking days while you were. So
yeah. So So I do actually have a helmet cam on. So I do have a video of it, which was very useful for a debrief. But basically, I think I was 10 hours. Not so much more than that now, but I was 10 hours. I obviously didn't really know what I was doing, and went over. You probably know the thermal, the one that comes up sort of just a bit to the south of the trough. Did I go over that one? Yeah, I think it was that one. Went over it and came out the other side, was flying quite low anyway, but came out the other side of the thermal and just went straight down. And I was about a meter, I'd say maybe about 1.5 meters away from the grass. So I came down in the gorse, didn't flare, because who needs to flare? Yeah, only wusses flare. So I didn't flare, went down into the gorse, and with the problem wasn't, I wasn't going that fast. It wouldn't have been that bad, but I put my foot down, as you do, like when you fall and you put your hand out like that. So I put my foot down, but I couldn't see where the ground was. So my leg impacted the ground unexpectedly. My knee went pop in a sound that Stu's probably very familiar with hearing people talking about. Yes, he's nodding. and ended up in A&E. So and missed lots of good flying days. So yeah, but lessons learned, lots and lots of very good lessons learned from that, and I'm still here and still flying. So yeah, vote for me.
What would you say your main lesson you've learned there, Barry? I'm interested.
The main lesson I've learned, well, there are so many. So the main lesson I've learned, you put me on the spot.
That's all right. Sorry.
Yeah, no. I think it's obviously overconfidence. I mean, nobody intends to crash, and the only cause of crashing, I think, must be overconfidence. So that's what it was. And although it still hurts, I'm grateful for that lesson. Basically.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. Yeah, I wasn't saying that.
Yeah.
There we go.
Rory was one of the nominees. He's not Rory Renton, who's a relatively new member. He's not here, but he has nominated. I don't think. Are you, Rory? Are you lurking somewhere? I haven't seen you.
He's not. No.
Rory nominated himself for the wooden spoon for crashing on his first day as a pilot in North Devon. Bit of an unfortunate tale. I don't think he's a worthy winner of the wooden spoon. He's a little unfortunate. And James, you're here. You can talk about your nomination, James Lloyd. James here?
I think I saw him. He left earlier.
He left earlier. Right. James had written he'd nominated himself just for turning up on the hill whenever he can get it.
He's still here, I think.
Oh, you're there.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Go on, James. You go. Don't let me talk.
All right. No, I've been in and out. Yeah, Rory's. I was with him that day, and he's not deserving a wooden spoon. I was partly responsible, really. I was looking after him really for that day, and really I took him to the wrong site that day, and I didn't see what happened to him, but he was on the hill with the wing not there, and he wasn't moving, so I freaked out. But it's a few weeks later and so on, and he's reflected on it. Hopefully some of his memories come back, but yeah, that's going to stay with him, certainly. So I hope he's having a good flying career on from that. My one, I've just been so keen to fly and get there as soon as possible after work. So this one's just turning up, rocking up. I go, right, yeah, it's wind on hill. I see pilots there. Let's go. And set up. And they've got their wings bunched up. The hill's a bit cloudy. They'd seen something I hadn't. No pilots up in the air, and I took off, and a gust came, and I just went straight up and thought, this is not good, and immediately went on to big ears and came straight back down pretty much where I started, thinking, I'm glad I did come down, and bunched up the wing and sort of pretended, oh yeah, I meant to do that, but felt very embarrassed. And quickly bunched it up as the rain just started, and about 5 minutes later it was viable again, and I took off and had an all right flight. But yeah, it was a moment of really should have taken a few deep breaths, assessed the situation, probably would have stopped to have a chat to a few people on the hill first before just launching into the yonder. And other times, like turning up when it was a southerly, no one there. The tow group were there randomly. I had no idea they were there, but I had a lovely day meeting the tow group and learning how that all operated. Yeah, no flying that day. But yeah, I like Andy's.
Right, I tell you what, if I stop the screen share, we can all see each other, I hope. Here we are. And we can have a vote. So who wants to organise the vote? Rob, you can do that, mate. You're the chairman now. Where's Rob?
Okay then. So I can't remember what the nominations were. So the first
we've got Andy for his dragging, Barry for his bouncing, Rory for bouncing on his head, and James.
Okay, so let's start with Andy then. Votes for Andy.
Oh, looking good, Andy.
Yeah. And votes for Barry for the bouncing. Okay.
Annie.
And votes for Rory, the kind of unfortunate first day, and James. Okay, so I think then it certainly looked like Andy was a worthy winner. Well done, Andy. Congratulations.
Yeah, prizes, as I say, awards, we can't physically give them. Once the dust settles and we can get things engraved, get trophies back and so on, we'll get that organised and get them out to the relevant winners. Yeah, thank you everyone for attending the AGM. Unless Sam or Jerry, I think we've done all the official business, haven't we? Is that correct? Yeah, Jerry's on mute. He's saying something, but I can't.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm taking the minutes.
That's all right. Yeah, that's okay. So I think we've done all the official business. So we share our picture of the pub. If I can do that, let's just try that, and then yeah, if I can make that work. No. No. Lost the technology now. That's not sharing, is it?
You're sharing
You're sharing, but the wrong page.
The wrong page, I know. Ah, here we are. That's what it is. There we are. So we're now in the pub. So I'll close that. So we can all see each other and we can just have a gossip or do anything we want. But thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you for organising that, Jerry.
Yep. Cheers.
It's Jerry.
Thanks everyone for being chairman for the year.
Yes, thank you.
That's all right.
Yeah, well done, Anne. Thank you.
Welcome, Rob. You've got big shoes to fill.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm going to stop the recording, if that's all right.
I might be able to find the winning photo. I might try that on the side and put it up in a minute. But yeah.
I've just sent you a
Share your screen. If Rob allows you, you can share your screen, Andy.
Can I?
We've all got that Zoom stare.
Yeah.
How do I do that then?
See if I can find it while you're doing that.
And let's play Rage Against the Machine. Anybody?
Andy had started screen sharing. Yeah, it's coming up.
Oh,
Yeah, you're right, Rosie. It's Anna.
Very nice. Very nice.
That is very nice. That is
Lovely.
very nice.
So tell us about the photo then, Andy.
That was day one. In fact, I'm in the middle of writing an article at the minute about it. It's day one of a week I spent with William in Annecy last year. Annecy and Chamonix. And it was just when the lockdown restrictions were eased and you could travel abroad. So I booked a Eurostar ticket. In fact, 2 days before they were eased, just because I'd heard rumours on the news that they were going to be eased. And William and I took off in the van and had a bit of an excellent adventure doing all the things you wanted to do, sort of cycling and swimming and lots of paragliding and a bit of mountaineering. And we were trying to get 5 activities in. We were trying to get skiing in as well, because I was hoping that one of the glacier resorts would be open on the last day, but the weather was shocking. So I was trying to go to either Tignes or where's the other one? Tignes and Val d'Isère. Both got glacier runs that are open that time of year, but it was clagged in and horrible, so we didn't. But, this was day one, and we did a Petit Tour de Lac, and the Rock de Boeuf, and this was on the way back to launch after finishing our Petit Tour, and it was lovely. The booming day, as you can see, cloud base was about 2,300, something like that, 2,300 meters, and we just stayed there for about 3 hours, boated about, and then went and had first of many pizzas. I'm doing an article for Skywings on our little adventure. There was a similar one done by Remicek, I think his name is, the weather guy in cross country. He took his 8-year-old boy out for weeks Vol Biv a couple of years ago, wrote some cross country about it. And William read that article and said, "Oh, I'd really like to do that, Dad." That's exactly what we did. We just went and had a bit of an adventure in the Alps for a week. A few days in Annecy, and then we went to Chamonix to stay with a friend of mine called Gavin Foster, who's an advanced dealer out there, lives in Servoz, just below Chamonix. We stayed there for a couple of days and had some lovely flights with some of his mates too. Yeah, all in all, a wonderful week in July.
But they were inspirational photos for me as well, Andy, because I'd love to do that with my kids. That was really, those photos were absolutely amazing. They really were. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Well done. Mm.
How are you, Alan?
If you undo your screen share, Andy, then we'll all see each other, I think. You have to stop screen share.
Alan.
Yeah.
How are you keeping, mate?
No, I'm fine, mate.
Yeah.
I was there last Monday.